say to make it right. 'Cause I need your arms around me every night. For me in a reggae party, me get me a shita. Me have a drink in a me left and a me right and have a spliff of marijuana.
Na ni uongo pia that aliacha kazi Kisima Drops.
Vile aliacha kazi na hii ni kesi mbili tofauti.
Oh my God, Melissa!
No. Oh, she's still my daughter, regardless. Not a word about this to anyone. It stays between us. You.
And Melissa,
She doesn't need to know this.
doesn't need to know what?
Listen.
It's 1 p.m. East African time. Good afternoon. This is the great KBC and this is Lunchtime News. My name is Njue. Thank you so much for making time for KBC Lunchtime News on this 18th day of January 2023. A comprehensive bulletin lined up for you. Remember, we can get interactive via all our social media platforms as we are live. Now, straight to the news. We begin in the county of Naivasha. Our sign language interpreter is Lucy Mwaura. To kick us off, the Nakuru County government has dissolved the entire Naivasha Level 4 Hospital Board due to poor governance and failure to oversight the facilities management. The board was sent packing following an outcry from members of the public over the provision of services in the death-ridden hospital.
Nakuru County Secretary Samuel Mwaura, while announcing the directive to dissolve the board, announced the commencement of investigations on alleged maternal deaths that had occurred in the facility, serving more than 1,000 people in Naivasha. The move came hours after demonstrations by area residents protesting the death of a woman in the hands of health workers in the hospital.
I want to assure the public and the community that we are working very hard to make sure that this outcry has been there is resolved and there is a smooth service provision to the public.
Turieni na tunafanya kila juhudi kuhakikisha ya kwamba hii mambo haitaenda vile watu walikuwa wanafikiria, lakini itafanyika kwa haki na kwa usawa.
Mwaura admitted that the facility has been facing multiple challenges ranging from staffing and shortage of medical supplies, and that the dissolution of a board would pave way for restructuring.
The governor has decided to dissolve the board of the hospital. A new board will be gazetted in the course of the week, so that they take up that role better of making sure that they are the ambassadors of the community in the hospital. Because the role of the board is nothing else apart from oversight, is to be the ambassador of the community in the hospital and also to be the ambassador of the hospital in the community.
The facility remains debt-ridden, owing suppliers more than 250 million shillings. John Jacob Curia, Lunchtime News.
All right, from Nakuru to Wajir, where a section of the county assembly leaders has faulted the recruitment and promotion of teachers in the county. The MCAs are alleging that the Teacher Service Commission has failed to ensure a transparent process, calling for an investigation into what they term as blatant corruption.
A section of members of Wajir County Assembly is accusing officers at the Teachers Service Commission in the county of favoritism in the recruitment and promotion of teachers. The leaders, led by Wagberi Ward Member of County Assembly Adan Bule, alleged the recruitment and promotions have always been marred with corruption at the expense of those who deserve their positions.
Appointments and promotion of teachers in this county is not merit-based, and the highest bidders are the ones appointed. Thus, there is a total corruption in that office. There are allegations that the office has been turned to a commercial center. Even the recent recruitment of teachers were forced to pay a huge amount of money.
They urged the commission to ensure the recruitment of tutors is above reproach.
Take a loan to facilitate their recruitment. This is something that has never happened and we are witnessing in Wajir. We are therefore appealing to TSC CEO and the relevant arms of the government for urgent intervention to bring sanity to this office, which is currently turned into a cash cow.
I'm requesting the TSC to look into that problems. What is going in that offices is something which we have witnessed, and I stand with the MCA who was given his praise, and that is the reality, and we want a total change.
We are requesting the government to consider deploying teachers so that the education crisis is solved.
Wajir County TSC Director James Ogongo has, however, denied the allegations.
Away from that report to a rather disturbing one, where a 47-year-old man from Kagambwa village in Gatondo North, Kiambu County, is in custody after he allegedly impregnated his 15-year-old daughter. David Mbogwa is said to have severely defiled his daughter despite several warnings by his wife. The minor gave birth last year in December.
David Mbogwa, a 47-year-old father of three from Kagambo village in Gatundu North in Kiambu County, is said to have developed the habit of engaging in sexual acts with his 15-year-old daughter. According to Virginia Mudhoki, the minor's mother, she started suspecting the two, and whenever she would raise the issue, the suspect would threaten her.
Kuna siku nilishuku, lakini babake akaniuliza, sasa unataka unipeleke jela? Mimi hii mambo, sababu babake anakuanga na ukali, nikanyamazia.
Mimi nilishikwa ni baba yangu na akaniambia nisiseme hii mambo kwa sababu nikisema naweza kufa, na sikusema hiyo mambo, lakini hapa mwisho nilikuja nikabia mama yangu.
Early last year, the minor conceived.
Kesho yake nikamwambia ampeleke Wendo. Na apimwe makojo. Kupimwa makojo, alienda akadungwa shindano. Hiyo shindano sikujua ilikuwa ya dini. Msichana sasa akawa mzuri. Akaendelea mpaka tarehe 8 mwezi wa Disemba ndio tulijua mtoto ako na mimba.
To conceal the act, Mbogwa asked his wife to take her to his sister in Naivasha, where she eventually gave birth on the 28th of December 2022. Police and other law enforcement agencies have been urged not to spare the suspect who is currently in custody.
Tunataka wasichana wetu walindwe vizuri, kwa maana sisi tunasikia mbaya sana. Usugu wa hiyo mtoto kusiko na apata mimba na mtoto.
Tukiangalia kama hiyo mzee amefanya hiyo kitendo, tukasikia aibu, kusikia tuko na yani uchungu.
Kula nitalea mtoto, lakini nitaendelea na masomo. Nitaachia mamagu mtoto niendelee na masomo.
Nasio Kware, Lunchtime News.
We hope the lady gets justice. And to another story touching on human rights, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has commenced an inquest into a series of killings that have rocked KBC County in the recent past. And the inquest seeks to unravel the murders that have left the country in shock and ensure the victims get justice. The public inquiry is set to run for the next 6 days with a focus on special interest groups such as the elderly persons, women and children.
Tume inakaribisha wananchi katika hii county wakuje watoe maoni.
Tungeomba ushirikiano wa kila mtu, wasomi, watu wa dini, hata national government, ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba haya mambo yanakwisha katika nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Na ninataka kuambia wananchi wenzetu, tafadhali peana ripoti kwa ukamilifu bila uoga, kwa sababu hiyo ripoti itatusaidia.
And still in Kiambu, residents of Kabete, Kiambu County are calling for a multi-agency response to the proliferation of illicit brew and narcotics in the region. The locals say the runaway problem has rendered many young persons incapable of building the economy. They have also called for the review of the law and judicial processes to ensure an expedited probe and prosecution of those engaging in the sale of illicit brew and narcotics.
Sisi wa mama wajane, watoto wanakufa sauri ya pombe. Askari akisika anapeleka kotini. Huyo koti anaachilia. Hii kijana anarudi tena. Sisi tuko na stress.
Wale ambao wanauza pombe ya baa wauze masaa ambayo inafanya nini? Inatakikana. So that mtu afanye kazi, masaa ya kukunywa pombe ukifika, enda ukakunywa bia 2 na uende nyumbani. Na kuna ile pombe mbaya ambayo tuliongea, ambayo inaitwa switch, ingine inaitwa nini? Lazima sisi wenyewe pia tukue responsible ya kwamba ujue pombe iko na madhara yake. So hiyo tutashughulikia.
Nataka niwahakikishie kwamba hiyo kazi tutafanya pamoja. Tutashikana na serikali yetu tukiongozwa na Madam DCC, tuongozwe na OCPD, na tuone pombe haramu haitauzwa na haitakunyiwa hapa katika constituency yetu ya Kabete.
And in other news, hundreds of children from Kayole Estate in Nairobi County are set to benefit from career and guidance information services thanks to an artificial intelligence solution dubbed Njue. A section of business partners from Kenya and the United States of America, while paying a visit to the Total Angel Children's Center in Kayole, say the initiative seeks to improve education outcomes for school-going children to improve livelihoods in the society. The program will see young learners exposed to the importance of technology for a smooth transition of services in a digital world.
Exploring and looking around at all the great work that we're able to do with the Njue AI and the workers there, but also the impact that we can have on the community.
Giving back to the society means a strong organization, brings up a stronger community, and at Njue AI, together with our partners, that is one of the initiatives we have to work on as an organization.
Moving on, the government has been urged to invest in the training and recruitment of cancer specialists for proper management of the disease. Concerns are growing in Western Kenya that the region has a shortage of doctors and specialists, leaving locals badly exposed.
Speaking during the launch of the cervical cancer screening in Kakamega Town, General Hospital Medical Superintendent Dr. Boniface Njue urged the government to establish a radiotherapy center for the treatment of cancer patients.
One of the songs we need to go out there and preach is creating opportunities for our healthcare providers to enhance their education and even recruit more so that patients are attended to in a timely manner. They don't feel like they have wasted a whole day for a service they could receive within minutes.
Kakamega County First Lady Professor Janet Baraza further noted that the completion of the Level 6 referral hospital will ease the pressure by bringing in more cancer specialists.
The Level 6 hospital will also have specialized equipment and specialists who will offer first-class health services to citizens in the entire Western region.
Watu wengi wanaogopa kwenda kuambiwa kwamba
wewe uko na kansa. Afadhali ufanyiwe alafu upatikane kwamba it is early stage, you can be treated.
Healthcare workers were further called upon to take care of their health by being at the forefront to undergo cancer screening. Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
At about 14 minutes past the top of the hour, we are taking a quick short break. But when we come back, we still have more news, not forgetting business and sports on the other side of the break.
KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
What am I even thinking? My Jenny's in Denmark now. You know what I don't like the most about you? Not only are you subpar, but you find excuses for your mistakes and waste everyone's time.
Dear Julia, work is important, yes, but never forget, we are a sweet home.
I'm going to keep my word. I'm going to keep it. I'll keep it.
Listen to me. Something happened at the hotel today, and you're totally not going to believe it. For now, I won't tell her. But honestly speaking, Harvey, bye. You almost knocked me off balance today.
To get Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 as your skiza tune, dial star 811 star 967 hash.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6.
To get Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5, dial star 811 star 967 hash. Star 811 star 967 hash.
Kisumu is the third largest city in Kenya after the capital Nairobi and the coastal city of Mombasa. Kisumu is 320 kilometers northwest of Nairobi and is located on the shores of Lake Victoria. According to the 2019 census, Kisumu population consists of 595,000 women. So, in the spirit of inclusion and equality, the Dadas Show has pitched camp here in Kisumu, and in the next few episodes, we shall be discussing issues that affect women and girls in the region with a bid to find a lasting solution.
This thing should always be left to the woman to make a decision to be inherited or not.
One of the most pervasive human violations.
Remember, a woman who stands up for herself then stands up for every woman. Of course, we urge you to tune into KBC every Sunday at 4 p.m. on the Dadas Show.
These days you just feel broke.
I like how you
guys
are
broke.
feeling all broke. But
No, you feel broke.
45 days.
Eh?
Actually,
you know, and I didn't tell these kids, yeah, there was money, when you're not paying school fees, Even me, I'll be very happy. Yeah. Every time you are happy, kwanza in this month, and this, everybody, yes, you can never run out of stories in a crazy capital like Nairobi and a mad country like Kenya.
Bibi na Adhiambo social WhatsApp group tumenene.
Kwa nini wewe unapenda wa baba na vitamu?
We know that we will get there. We won't finish. It's a rabbit hole.
Oh, it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we won't finish.
Welcome back to KBC Lunchtime News, and thanks for keeping it Channel 1. Moving on, residents of Kirima village in Kajiado North Sub-County are up in arms over escalating human-wildlife conflict. Last week, a man and his son were attacked by a buffalo at night as they kept vigil to scare away the animals from their land.
The residents say the wild animals have forced them into a dusk to dawn curfew.
Kwa hivyo mimi nakadiria hasara kwa sababu hata sijai kuona nyati ikikuja mahindi zikiwa hivi. Ninaona mahindi inakuja saa zile mahindi zinaenda kukoma.
The locals say a herd of buffalo has been roaming in their pieces of land and destroying crops.
Sisi tumalimanga kila wakati, hakuna kitu tunafuna. Nyati inakuja inakula kila msimu yote, tukilima nyati inakula. Hata hiyo dara tukipanda ya kuipea ng'ombe zetu zinakuja inakula mpaka hata tunahangaika tutapea nini ng'ombe.
Sasa tunataka tu kulilia watu wa KWS waweze kutusaidia, waweze kuja kutufukusia hizi nyati wakae mbali kidogo na watu, kwa sababu tunaona kwamba sasa ikiendelea namna hiyo watu watakuja kuumia zaidi sana, kwa sababu
most locals here practice agribusinesses for subsistence, but the practice is facing its biggest challenge yet. The animals are said to have been straying from the nearby Ngong forest in search of pasture owing to the ongoing drought. The locals are calling on the Kenya Wildlife Service to restrain the wild animals to avert further crop destruction and possible deaths. For Lunchtime News, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
In other stories, a middle-aged man has died and property estimated at $500,000 shillings destroyed after a bar went up in smoke at Birongo in Kisii Central Sub-County, Kisii County. The early morning fire also saw two people rush to hospital with serious injuries. These stories and more are in our county news roundup.
In a dramatic turn of events, police acting on information arrested the bar owner who was not around when the fire broke out to help in the investigations.
We found that there was one person whose name is held with us until he is identified by relatives. He's a male adult, middle-aged, who succumbed due to the fire magnitude.
Meanwhile, Naivasha Nakuru County Level 4 Hospital is on the spot following the controversial death of a woman a day after delivering in the public facility.
Sasa unaona hakuwa na damu, alibleed, na huko ndani alituambia aje hakuwekwa damu na alibleed damu yote. Sasa bado tukiwa hapo kwa leba tulichungulia kwa dirisha na bro yangu. Ilibidi tuchungulie venye apiga nduru. Tuliona manasi wakichota hivi damu, wakiweka kwa bakuli, wakiweka kwa bucket. Sasa waangalia hata ungejua ni wakaragani. Jua alikuwa amelalia, hiyo kitanda yake ilikuwa inakaa damu.
And drama unfolded at Tala in Machakos County after two suspected television thieves were caught in a suspected black magic trap.
Tumesumbuka sana na hawa wezi. Tumesumbuka sana, tumesubuliwa kuibiwa nyumbani huku town. Tumesumbuliwa sana mpaka ng'ombe zetu zinaibwa kila mara.
Walimuibia TV yake. Nikamwambia kama mazoea kuibiwa, nitakupa wiki mbili. Hiyo wiki mbili ilikuwa siku ya leo ndio nashika wiki mbili. Natumia nyuki, niko na methodi nyingi za kutumia kunasa waizi.
Elsewhere in Embu County, Principal Secretary Ministry of Interior Raymond Omolo has revealed that the construction of 20,000 capacity Njukiri Sports City, where 2023 Madaraka Day will be held, is set to begin immediately following a series of high government officials meeting.
And we are going to work hand in hand to ensure that this is delivered on time, but also to address all the other challenges that we will come across as we work on this process, but also everything else around governance and around service to the people.
And finally, Amani National Congress has dismissed some claims of differences between the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Deputy President Gachagua.
Kenyans should stop those petty politics, especially some branches. We can see what they are trying to bring some animosity between the two leaders, the Deputy President and the Cabinet Secretary. That one should stop.
Let's now cross over to South Sea, where the PS Trade was having a working relationship or enhancing of the standards. And the PS Juma Mukwana had this to say a little bit earlier on. Let's listen in.
With the work that KBC is doing, which they have been doing for a long time, which is securing the quality of the products that we use. And you know that when they secure that quality, it supports our businesses. It supports the idea that then we can export some of those products either within the region, to Africa, to the East African community, because they meet our standards. They are also our policeman when it comes to products that we import. Because remember, when you go to the international market to buy and bring into Kenya, quite often you find yourself buying either counterfeit or substandard products. So the person who really keeps us on our toes is KBC. And that's very important for us, because then it protects our lives. It also protects our investments and our lives, because some of these materials we are using may be electrical, maybe construction material. So you can imagine that if some of those are substandard, then you have a lot of consequences to the lives of Kenyans. So the work that this institution is doing is extremely important for that purpose. The second thing that I want to say has to do with manufacturing, because that's where I come from, being the PS for the State Department for Industry. You know that our industries have been struggling for a long time. The Kenya Kwanza government has a very clear plan on how we want to revive manufacturing within the country. Those of you that have been following our story has been that I think for a long time we relied on large-scale, big industries. The future of this country is for us to promote small and micro enterprises that are doing small business to actually grow into industry. So the ideas that we are having, those of you that were with me at the East African Portland, we have indicated that we have a lot of land in Athi River that we would like to start to use to construct an industrial park for construction materials. So what we would like to have there is a one-stop kind of place for anybody who wants to construct. So if we do, and we are estimating we'll do between 70 and 100 different sheds, then we'll bring people that want to add value to the products that East African Portland is making. Some may do concrete materials like capros, maybe culverts. Somebody may sell electrical material, tiles, roofing materials, so that you have a one-stop place, solar, heating, and anything else that you want. So one of the things that we are encouraging, and we'll be doing this with in line with the private sector, we are already in discussions with some of those investors that we invest into a really industrial park that can take us to a one-stop place where you can get all your construction materials. So if you are constructing and you go there, you are almost able to buy anything that you would like to do with your housing. And this is also in line with the Kenya Kwanza government vision and idea that we construct of affordable housing, that we construct 250 houses every year. Remember, if we don't organize yourself, we want the houses, but we want those houses also to be constructed using Kenyan materials, because currently we are relying too much on imported products, and so part of that's why this industrial park will be very important for us. This industrial park will be important for promoting Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. So anybody that has good technology that they want to invest in construction can then come there. The other issue that we are also looking at is the issue of the textile industry. So a lot of the clothes that we are putting on, again, our cotton production went down. So last week I was in Eldoret, and the idea, and in February we are going to meet farmers across the country in Western Kenya, in Nyanza and in Coast, that we start to promote cotton farming so that we can start to produce our own textiles. And we are buying a lot of textiles that is imported. In this country we can actually grow cotton, we can make all the textiles that we need. So Rivertex is doing a good job, but we have asked that they then add more value, make more shirts, make more suits, market more aggressively, so that we can start to build back the Kenyan brand. And that's what we are doing. And then we are also having a lot of other policy issues. Our target is to grow manufacturing by 1.5% every year for the next 5 years. And so we are looking at also bringing in investors in different areas, people that want to invest in the pharmaceutical industry. We have people that want to make vaccines for Africa, because remember now we are part of the African Continental Trade Area, so the place where you can sell. So Africa is trading as one, but the question is, what do we as Kenya have that we can sell to East Africa, that we can sell to Africa? So the rest that we have now is to revitalize our manufacturing.
All right, that has been Trade PS Juma Mukwana, who was speaking earlier on in South Sea, the KEBS headquarters, on enhancing of standards, working together and partnerships to enhance quality and standards in the quality of goods that we have in the country. My colleague Hibaksa Eid is keeping a keen eye on that story, and in our subsequent bulletin she will be coming with a more detailed report. Away from that, Mbeere North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Ruto is petitioning the government to allow Mbeere residents to undertake farming activities on the land he says the Tana and Athi River Development Authority took from the community. The MP said the residents were languishing in hunger and poverty while the land laid bare with minimal activity.
Speaking during a food disruption exercise, Mbeere North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Ruto expressed his disappointment in the dismissal of his written request to the authority to allow area residents to undertake farming activities on the land entrusted to the Tana and Athi Rivers Development Authority that is unutilized.
Na tukaambia watu wengine wachukue mashembe yao, majembe yao, waende kwa mashamba waweze kulima. Lakini wafanyikazi wa Tanga walienda wakachukua majembe, wakashika hao watu, wakachukua ile tunaita browns, na saizi kwa hapa police station. Si ndio hiyo?
The locals' father said the drought has worsened their financial ability, arguing that this will be alleviated by giving them access to the land they claim belonged to their forefathers for farming.
Na ni aibu kubwa. Ana atujui ni masomo hatuna au nini?
In Malindi, over 500 residents of Malindi town are seeking the government's intervention against eviction threats they have received from a local tycoon from a land they claim ownership of. The families living in Majengo, Shila area allege harassment by the tycoon that has made life more difficult for them.
Niko hapo pahali na nimelipa kisha halafu nikatiwa makotini, bwanangu akafungwa na mpaka sasa sina raha. Kila siku nashtuliwa, leo tandolewa, kesho tandolewa, sina raha, niko wetu tumenyanyaswa, wakati wa wazee wetu tumenyanyaswa. Sasa tunataka haki yetu.
Wala si kwake, tulipomfuata tukimwambia total D anasema hana, sijui iko wapi, mpaka leo anatusumbua. Ukitaka kufukua shimo anakuja na watu anakuambia hakuna kufukua. Sasa hii ni mambo gani haya?
They now want swift action taken and a long-term solution found. For Lunchtime News, Nasra Aden.
Moving on, Busia County Director of Education Nancy Afande has disclosed that a big percentage of pupils in primary schools have transited to junior secondary schools. Afande noted that they are now inspecting both private and public schools to ensure they follow all the conditions set up by the ministry to develop junior secondary.
During the launch of Wings to Fly Education Scholarship Initiative, Busia County Director of Education Nancy Afande said that despite the lack of basic structures to provide laboratory-oriented studies, Busia County is prepared to commence junior secondary education under the competency-based curriculum.
Shule zote lazima zifikie kiwango ambacho serikali inahitaji kufikia. Kwa hivyo our schools, even the public ones, we are also going to make sure that they improve in infrastructure and they improve, especially the area of laboratory. That is where we would have had a challenge.
Afande hailed Equity Bank for providing the Wings to Fly scholarship to needy but bright students.
Wanafunzi wengi ambao wangekosa fursa ya kuendeleza masomo yao wanaweza kupata kwa sababu ya ufadhili huu ambao unatokana na benki ya Equity pamoja na wafadhili wengine.
According to the Equity Bank Busia branch manager Oscar Masinde, 1,118 students in Busia have so far benefited from the scholarship, and this year only 8 students have secured the scholarship.
Kufikia sasa Busia tumesaidia wanafunzi 1,118 na tunajifunia wengi wamefanya vizuri, wamejiunga na vyuo vikuu. Manake transition rate kutoka form 4 kwenda university, kwa ukiangalia watoto wa Wings to Fly ni around 86%. Kwa hivyo wanafunzi wengi sana wale Equity Wings to Fly imesaidia wame-manage kuingia university.
Masinde reiterated the importance of teaching students leadership matters to mold a righteous generation.
We want to make a wholesome person. It's not just about academics. We also looking at the leadership roles. So that's why we challenged our students that when they get in the program, they should not just concentrate on books only. They should do sports. They should take leadership roles in schools so that we have a wholesome person from the Equity group.
Let's now shift gears to matters business. With 67% of minors aged between 12 and 17 years being internet users in Kenya, the minors have become susceptible to online abuse. The government has moved in to formulate child online protection and safety regulations to curb the increase in cases of bullying and sexual exploitation targeting minors. Part of the regulations will include a manual that will be used by the Ministry of Education in training the minors on online safety.
Kenya is among the top countries in Africa in the use of the internet, with 67% of minors aged between 12 and 17 accessing the internet. Internet use is now exposing minors to online abuse and predators who use the dark web to browse and lure them into explicit content generation. The government has promised to step up its efforts for protecting the consumers of communication services by developing and implementing interventions to safeguard them from online abuse.
The problem is that the children are not aware of the dangers that await them online. The people they chat with, they do not them. Data and research has shown that at any one point, we have 750,000 worldwide predators waiting to prey on children who are not aware of what they require of them.
The move is an initiative by the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection to train minors who access the internet through mobile phones and tablets.
Of ICT services, children may be unable to discern the suitability of content they come across from time to time. The curiosity that comes with the discovery of new and exciting things may drive them to areas that may be harmful to not only their health, but also their normal psychological growth.
Josephine Oguye said that online predators are on the rise, with many children being lured daily. Through the initiative, relevant stakeholders have been tasked to promote awareness of child safety online. Frederick Moki for Lunchtime News.
Inflation in the UK dipped to 10.5% in the year to December, down from 10.7% in November. Price rises slowed for a second month in a row, but the cost of living remains close to a 40-year high. Details of this and more in news from around the world.
Inflation, which measures the rate of price rises, fell to 10.5% in the year to December 2022 compared to 10.7% in November. The drop was due to fuel prices falling along with clothing and footwear prices. However, this was offset by rising costs in restaurants and hotels. The cost of food also continued to rise, and there was a big jump in airfares. Some analysts believe that the cost of living may now slowly be beginning to ease. But at 10.5%, UK inflation is still way above the 2% the Bank of England is charged with keeping inflation at. Prices have been rising steadily in the UK since the COVID pandemic, and the war in Ukraine has increased costs of households further, with energy and food costs soaring in recent months. Elsewhere, collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX says that around $415 million of crypto has been stolen by hackers. About $323 million was hacked from its international exchange and $90 million from its US platform since the firm filed for bankruptcy, FTX CEO confirmed. FTX co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried has been accused of stealing billions of dollars from FTX users to pay debts at his other firm, Alameda Research. Bankman-Fried has pleaded not guilty to fraud charges. Last week, the company told a bankruptcy judge in Delaware that it had recovered more than $5 billion in assets. FTX, which a year ago was valued at $32 billion, filed for bankruptcy protection on 11th November. Finally, Microsoft Corporation plans to cut thousands of jobs, with some roles expected to be eliminated in human resources and engineering divisions. The expected layoffs will be the last in the US technology sector, where companies including Amazon.com and Meta Platforms have announced retrenchment exercises in response to slowing demand and a worsening of the global economic outlook.
From that global wrap, we come back to Africa, where the International Monetary Fund has approved 2 reviews of a financing agreement with Uganda that allows for the immediate release of about $240 million to our neighboring country. The IMF says Ugandan authorities have managed to preserve macroeconomic stability while sustaining the post-COVID-19 recovery, despite rising pressure from global shocks and successive domestic shocks, including new public health challenges. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines from across Africa.
In December, Uganda and the IMF staff had reached an agreement for the combined second and third reviews of its 36-month extended credit facility, paving the way for the release of the financing, which brings total disbursements under the arrangement launched in June 2021 to $625 million. The IMF says that Uganda had met most quantitative targets, with a slight relaxation of fiscal deficit targets to support vulnerable households and provide public sector cost of living adjustments amid high inflation. In recent years, Uganda has been increasingly taking large amounts of debt, particularly from China, to finance energy, transportation and other infrastructure, with officials banking on expected oil revenue to clear the debt. Meanwhile, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has left its key focus for oil supply and demand this year unchanged for the second month running, even as it increased output. OPEC's average December production rose by 91,000 barrels per day to 28.971 million barrels daily, with nearly all of the gains coming from Nigeria. Nigeria's crude oil production rose by 91,000 barrels per day last month to 1.267 million barrels per day, with production also rising in Angola, Iran, Libya, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. OPEC has left the forecast for global oil demand growth at 2.22 million barrels per day for this year. And finally, Tanzania exported $141.6 million worth of coal in the year ending November 2022, fueled by increasing demand due to the global energy crisis. This was more than 10 times the value that was exported in the corresponding period in 2021, that was at $13.2 million. Most of the coal was destined to neighboring countries such as Rwanda, Uganda, DRC, Senegal, Poland, Hong Kong, and India.
Back home, and some good news for tea lovers and tea farmers as well. The Tea Research Institute has unveiled yellow tea that it says has high medicinal benefits. This is part of efforts by the Kericho-based Tea Research Institute to diversify to high-value tea varieties to address shrinking revenue from black tea that is grown by a majority of smallholder farmers.
It is the latest in the market. Watu wengi hawajawahi sikia kuhusu yellow tea kwa sababu sisi kama watafiti wa tea research tumeshafanya utafiti na tumefikia hapo kwamba tunaweza kuproduce yellow tea ambayo itasaidia kutupea afya mzuri na kuzuia magonjwa ambayo yanasumbua wanadamu kwa saizi. Hiyo ndio the latest findings ambayo tumepata kwa mmea wa chai. Njia mzuri ya kukunywa hii yellow tea ili upate faida yake mzuri kabisa ni kukunywa bila sukari na bila maziwa. Unachemsha tu maji na unaweka ndani hiyo chai na inajitokeza yenyewe na rangi yake. Na bila shaka utapata full benefit ambayo inatakana mmea wa chai. Purple tea iko na advantage ambayo inapita hiyo yellow tea kidogo kwa sababu iko na component inaitwa anthocyanin. Anthocyanin ni component ambayo inapatikana kwa blueberries, blackberries, red berries. Ni kama umekula matunda ukikunywa hii purple tea.
And in other news, the Environment and Land Court in Migori has commenced verification to bring to an end a land tussle that has slowed implementation of Lower Kuja irrigation scheme in Nyatike. Implementation of the irrigation project that targeted to put 19,000 acres of land under crops has been slowed by numerous court cases related to land compensation and claims of displacement due to flooding.
The Lower Kuja irrigation project started well and benefited farmers before some of them moved to court on claims that the installed irrigation infrastructure was causing flooding in the area and displacing them. The Migori Environment and Lands Court Judge Mohamed Kulo led a team of lawyers to Agenga village in North Kadem on a fact-finding mission where a section of few farmers claimed to have been displaced by the initial implementation phase of the project.
Ombi letu kuu ni kwamba jamani watukirimie, watupe hata hela za kununua viwanja halafu na kujenga majumba. Hilo tu, maana maeneo yamebaki hapo huwezi kuishi.
The Lower Kuja irrigation project targets 19,000 acres of land has faced delays due to the many court cases related to land compensation and claims on displacement due to flooding.
Fugo yangu wote walitokomea kwa ajili ya nini? Kwa ajili ya maji. Majumba yote yalibomoka, japo yamebaki magofu tu, yamebaki magofu. Yaani hapa kaliki, hapa ingiliki. Hakuna njia wala nini. Ukiendapo sasa niseme ni vichaka na hayo magofu ya miji ndio imebaki.
The project is one of the new frontiers for rice farming in Kenya, with a potential of 19,000 acres without a dam and about 80,000 acres with a dam. Gogo Dam has been proposed upstream, and it's one of the dams being considered to realize the project's full potential. Ndusamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
Let's now shift gears to sports. Algeria won their second match of the ongoing African Nations Championships after beating Ethiopia 1-0 to top Group A with 6 points. Meanwhile, Liverpool are through to the fourth round of the FA Cup after beating Wolves 1-0 in their replay match played at the Molineux Stadium.
Ayman Mahia scored the only goal as host Algeria beat Ethiopia in their second match of the championships. The matches continue tonight with Senegal facing Uganda.
But it's a goal!
In the FA Cup, Harvey Elliott scored the only goal as Liverpool beat Wolves 1-0 in the third round match played at Molineux Stadium.
Beauty! What a majestic strike!
At the Houghton's, West Bromwich also qualified to the next round after thrashing Chesterfield 4-0.
Here's Gardner-Hickman. And there's Malcolm!
In another match, Swansea were knocked out of the FA Cup after they were beaten 2-1 at home by Bristol.
What a brilliant goal!
The action continues tonight with Leeds United welcoming Cardiff City. In the English Premier League, Manchester United will be aiming to win their 6th consecutive league match when they play against Crystal Palace tonight. In Italy, AC Milan will play against Inter Milan in the Italian Super Cup.
And on that sporty note, Cardiff, Leeds United, and an interesting one, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. High-flying Manchester United will be some of the best fixtures tonight. Of course, there are other leagues in the world that are playing tonight as well, and you can be sure that your true sports partner, KBC Channel 1, bringing you the sights, the sound, all the goals in those matches. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ben Troy. Njue Lucy Maura is our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. Of course, if you need or if you want more news, you can check out our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, and also on all our social media spaces. Thank you so much for joining us.
This is definitely the place to be. Welcome to Nairobi Street Kitchen. Cheers.
Cheers.
Located in the heart of Kenya's capital, in the Westlands neighborhood, this unique space is much more than just an eating place. One of the must-experience places in Kenya is Nairobi Street Kitchen. It